Good Qin Yu takes it all in her stride.
I can't wait for the opening performance. This is the first time for us to perform this show professionally and for money.
The city of Taipei has nearly 3 million people and over 1 million motor scooters, not to mention the world's tallest building. It's in this buzzing environment that the ice troupe hopes to make its mark. Their first official engagement is a welcoming banquet put on by the local promoters in their honor. They repay the compliment with a toast. Cheers. Cheers. They know their future success could depend on this tour. But down at the venue, there's trouble brewing. The ice rink is laid out and ready to flood, but the brand new ice maker refuses to go. Next morning, ice technician Jiao, who has traveled from Harbin to oversee the installation, thinks he knows why.
Last night, we found that one of the main pipes inside the machine has come apart.
They bring in 2 local mechanics to investigate the problem, and it's not looking promising. They need to strip the whole machine down. But it's a problem that doesn't faze this technician.
There's still enough time to prepare the ice. We can make around 4 to 5 centimeters in 24 hours.
After a good night's rest, the troupe is anxious to get down to the venue and see the setup. They're blissful. Thinking ahead, the promoters have found a second ice-making machine. By connecting the 2 together, they hope to speed up ice production. But this tricky operation is eating into valuable time. It's their worst nightmare. They're an ice troupe without any ice. They have no option but to practice their routines around the edges of the unfilled rink. By evening, the mechanics are making good progress with the ice makers. The second machine is all hooked up and ready to go. They bring in bags of crushed ice to spread over the piping to help kickstart the freeze. But as the workers spread the ice, they inadvertently create large gaps between the carefully laid out piping. This could cause the rink to freeze unevenly, forming treacherous trenches of unfrozen water. Skating on the surface will be difficult and possibly dangerous. Next morning, director Guan and head coach Qin check out the rink.
The plan was the ice would be ready by now, and we'd have 2 days to rehearse.
Yeah, normally the ice should be this thick.
With the opening only 2 days away, lack of ice is a huge frustration for director Guan.
We're going to place another layer of crushed ice down first and wait for it to flatten out. But time is very tight. It's only been running for 6 hours. It needs another 48 hours to fully set.
But 48 hours will take them into the day of their first performance, meaning the troupe may have to perform without any rehearsal on the ice. And the stadium is almost fully booked for the opening show.
I'm very worried. If we can't get the ice ready in time, there's no way we can do our performance.
Head coach Qin, a former acrobat, understands how they're feeling. A rigorous rehearsal helps take their minds off their predicament.
Make sure you extend both arms out. The audience is on all four sides. Keep up the tempo.
By day's end, the ice situation has not improved. Taipei's subtropical climate isn't helping either. With the two machines working overtime, the troupe puts the rink to bed, hoping this layer of water will freeze overnight. It's now 1 day away from the first performance. There's been little improvement in the ice, and worse still, watery trenches are beginning to show. They desperately need a full dress rehearsal. Even the normally confident Qin Yu is now having her doubts.
If the ice isn't ready in time, I think it will be hard for us to pull things off. If we can't get in a proper rehearsal, I'm afraid we won't perform well.
16-year-old Xie Xiaotong and her partner finally get to rehearse their trapeze routine. It's been over 3 weeks since they've been able to practice. And it shows when they attempt a difficult maneuver. Like falling off a bicycle, she gets straight back on. But then, disaster strikes. Xiao Tong descends safely. But her partner's hold breaks. And she plummets 8 meters onto the partially frozen ice. Although she's initially stunned by the impact, the soft ice could have saved her from more serious injury. She soon recovers and is taken to hospital for an X-ray. But Xiao Tong is shattered. Her hopes of performing the trapeze routine on this tour are now dashed. With the first performance less than 24 hours away, there's a lot of money at stake and some big decisions to be made.
We'll decide tonight whether we need to postpone tomorrow's performance. If the ice isn't ready, we'll have to postpone. If the ice isn't flat or thick enough, the performers will have no way to work on it. It's a big problem.
It's the morning of the first show, and Coach Qin checks out the ice makers. They've been running non-stop all night and should have made about 4 centimeters of ice, just enough to put on a show. But inside the gym, it's another story. The ice is still poor and patchy. The troupe's body language says it all. But Director Guan won't tolerate these glum faces.
As I told you before, if you can't pull yourself together, then I don't think you are fit to be performers. So sit up and stop slouching. Sit up straight like soldiers. We won't tolerate that kind of attitude here. We're confronted with a difficult situation, so you just have to pull yourself together and face it. Your attitude is the most crucial thing that determines whether we can get through this.
Harsh words for the young acrobats. But Coach Qin knows from experience that this approach works.
In China, there's a proverb: be strict to those you're close to, and tolerate those who are not. That means being strict on those you care for, so they can develop.
Outside, the troupe holds an emergency meeting with the promoter. In true showbiz style, they all agree that the show must go on.
If the ice isn't ready for the first and second performances, we'll give the audience members another ticket that allows them to come to the show again when the ice is ready.
They have just 8 hours to prepare a totally new show that takes the ice routines and puts them on the stage. They also add in some of their favorite routines from their pre-ice troupe days. Remarkably, with just an hour to opening, the troupe has cobbled together a new stage show. With a bit of luck and a sympathetic audience, they might just pull it off. In a last-ditch attempt to fill the ruts, they bring in blocks of dry ice. At minus 78.5 degrees Celsius, it should help speed things up. But it won't be in time for the opening show. The bungee routine takes off, and their nerves and lack of practice are showing. But they needn't have worried. The Taiwanese crowd gives the troupe all the support they need. It's also a day of triumph for the non-ice routines. But Xiao Tong can only watch from the wings, knowing her trapeze act should have been performing overhead. Wang Long's Pitiao act, minus his skates, thrills the crowd. Junmei sparkles with confidence, her earlier nerves now behind her. Pei Long's hat trick is usually a challenge, but it's a piece of cake without his skates on. The final routine was put together just a few hours ago. But it's such a hit that it may become a permanent part of the show. In no time at all, they're bidding their opening audience farewell and celebrating.
If we had ice, it would be even better because we've been practicing on ice for so long. But I still feel pretty good about today's performance.
The fact that we mastered these routines off the ice first helped us perform well today.